far. Yes, Sadi, let us know how your week's been so far.
So I'm actually in Cape Town, South Africa right now.
Fantastic.
So it's winter time in Cape Town, but it's not anything as close to the other winters around the world.
Mhm.
So I've had a really good week. I'm serving a quick contract here in Cape Town, so I'm here with my family. I've
Fantastic.
been working with my team, trying to sign some new clients, new partnerships, also from South Africa, so activating the market here.
Fantastic.
But it's been really really nice. Cape Town is one of the most beautiful cities in the world, I would say. I mean, second only to Accra.
Hmm.
It has been really 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 nice and very refreshing to be out here. But yeah,
That's
I'm
beautiful.
excited to
Yeah,
be here. Yeah,
that's beautiful. Accra is great. It's home and all, but I mean, Cape Town. I've not been there yet, but it's somewhere that I
it
do
is.
want
It
to
is
come out
something
to.
else. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it looks stunning, and I think Johannesburg is Joburg, as they say, is another place that I'm looking forward to coming out to. So South Africa, hopefully, we can come out there at some point. But yeah, let's continue to get the feedback from the audience. If you guys can hear us loud and clear, please give us a like, give us a thumbs up, drop a message in the chat. Let us know if you guys can hear us okay, so we can know that we are being heard clearly. What else do we have? Just to remind you guys, we are live on Facebook, we are live on Instagram, we are live on YouTube, we are live on LinkedIn. If you can hear us, please drop a message in the chat. Let us know if you can hear us. If you are in Instagram and the video is not clear, please join us on YouTube. If you find us on YouTube, you should be able to join us live there. If the video does look a little bit funny, okay? If you're on LinkedIn, drop a message. Let us know, what you think about today's stream so far, and let us know where you're coming in from. Let us know where you're tuning in from. It'd be great to hear from all of you. All right. But yeah, we are still live on all of the simultaneous platforms, and let's continue on with the discussion. So great. So Sydney just mentioned that he's currently in South Africa, trying to sign some more deals for Workspace Global. And we're going to get into more about what Workspace Global do in just a moment. But Sydney, could you tell us about your story in terms of like kind of how you launched the Workspace Global platform, and what led to you structuring the business in such a way where it's now more like a subscription, like a SaaS model, because
Yeah,
it's quite clever.
yeah, yeah.
Because this is something I don't hear too often about, because
Mm,
you have the usual person that's on Upwork, on Fiverr, all these different platforms, and they're requesting
mhm,
one-time work. This is usually the case,
mhm,
all this design crowds, freelancer.com. But you've got
mhm.
the subscription model where you guys can pay a subscription, and then you guys get a certain amount of designs every single month. And I think this is the
Yeah.
future. We all love our Netflix, we all love YouTube Premium, Amazon Prime. You talk us more about this. This is exciting.
Okay, so I'll probably take us way back to give context about where this even came from. I was born and raised in Ghana. I went to University of Ghana where I started my first business back in 2011. So I've actually been in entrepreneurship for about 13 years.
Wow.
My first business went viral at the time, but due to certain reasons, we had to pivot. But one of the key things were that it focused in universities, and university students were the ones who were paying us. So obviously, running spoken word live music and stand-up comedy concerts, the margins that we're making, the revenue we're making wasn't covering the cost, right? So the big gap there was we needed to sign brand partnerships to be able to be sustainable, which is something that we didn't figure out too well at the time. So the whole concept of brand partnerships led me down a rabbit hole in relation to branding, just thinking about like what that whole concept of positioning and showing up properly on the market was. So it started me off on a journey as a freelance designer helping other student entrepreneurs, right? So I started to really understand the plight of the entrepreneur, starting from the African entrepreneur, but obviously now I focus on entrepreneurs worldwide. And one thing you would realize is that not every entrepreneur can afford to pay a high-end traditional agency to help them build a brand and launch their marketing campaign. Entrepreneurs also, or founders also, do struggle with freelancers. Where do you find a good freelancer? the number of freelancers you need to be able to get everything you need done. So one person can do your website, another person can do your designs, another person does your social media, and you're managing a whole lot of people, right? And then there's also the group of people who try to do it themselves, right? But everyone knows if you're not a designer, it's very difficult. It takes a lot of time, and it just eats up, a lot of your capacity and bandwidth, right? So we really learned that firsthand, through that journey of me supporting student entrepreneurs. I did build a very successful agency, which is part of what got us on the Forbes list. It grew to a team of over 30 people, working with
Wow.
large brands like the World Bank, the UN. We had a lot of very, very large clients. But as the journey went on, we did recognize that we were moving a little further away from our mandates, number one. But also, number two, operating a traditional agency model is very heavily based on deep relationships, and there's a challenge with getting contracts, especially in a very politically charged space in like Ghana, where you have to know someone, you have to have relationships. There's a little bit of a challenge there. So that led us to thinking about, listen, if we're charging higher and higher, we're moving away from the reason we started, which is supporting people who are starting out in Africa, in the UK, in the US, in the
Got it.
diaspora, so we needed to figure out a way where we could keep the price or the barrier to entry low, because everyone deserves to have a great brand. You can't compete in this world right now, in this business world, without a strong brand. If you don't look slick, people are not paying you your worth. There's all that. So we started on a quest to be able to figure out how to keep the prices low and ensure that everyone had access to that. But the only way to do that was through technology, right? So that's where we started to really embrace technology. And one unique thing about working at Workspace was that we were obsessed about workflow, right? Everybody does, well, a lot of people do very good design, very high quality work, but not everyone has the same level of workflow, which has to do with how does the customer share their ideas with you? How does the customer, pay you? How does the customer receive your work? All those little things come together to make it really easy to support people, right? So we invested a lot of time into that, and that's kind of what has led us to where the business is at right now. I'll talk a little bit about that, in a second, so that people can understand what exactly is Workspace right now. A second
Fantastic.
flip end to my journey, yeah. Another flip end to my journey was the freelancer. Most people think freelancers just get up and sit behind their computers and just, build websites and stuff like that. But what people don't notice is that the freelancer has to find customers. They need to network and do all of those things. They need to onboard customers. They need to manage payments. They need to manage customer relationships, right? And so we recognize that not everyone has the same access to these skills and these opportunities. And so if you are a freelancer in like one corner of Rwanda or one corner of Kenya, right, and you don't have access to these business networking events, where do you start? Who helps you? Who helps you get by, if you get what I mean? So we also then thought of the other end, which is how can we employ hundreds or thousands of freelancers in a way that is sustainable, giving everybody access to work. So supporting entrepreneurs and supporting freelancers is what brought the whole idea of the Workspace platform together, to be able to support these two groups to drive development, increase livelihoods, and make people happy.
That's fantastic, Sydney. And this is a really thought out business that you've crafted. You haven't gone to the extent of not allowing yourself to get too carried away in terms of the amount that you're billing for like these top companies, these banks, these huge companies. But you've allowed yourself to kind of come back to planet Earth and to keep the main thing in terms of what the mission is to support everyday entrepreneurs or small businesses or startups.
Exactly.
So I love the fact that you did that, and I also love the fact, Sydney, that you took it to another level where you thought about the mind of the freelancer in terms of what they need, in terms of like accounting, finance, billing, customer relations, just things, skills, and things that they need to do on a daily basis, maybe, or the monthly basis, that you want to take the headache away from. Do you understand? So I love the way that
Exactly.
you also considered that in terms of what you're doing at Workspace Global to make it more
Mm,
accessible as possible to these
yes.
entrepreneurs, small businesses, and startups. I think what you've been
Yes.
doing is really, really fantastic. And
Mm,
tell us about where Workspace Global was at the beginning and where
mhm.
it's now. The evolution. Have you seen the as you has it have you seen the business evolve over the years?
Yes, it has evolved. It's taken on many faces. So
Mhm.
I'll start off with explaining what it is now, because
Go
I'm
for it.
sure people watching would just be like, so if it's not an agency, what exactly is it, right? So what we've built is a tech platform, okay, similar to the way you would access Uber on your phone or Airbnb on your phone, right? That connects you to creative teams for startups, okay? Now, the beautiful thing is you can subscribe in a few seconds, and within about an hour, you are set up with a full creative team, designers, writers, social media managers, whatever, and you only pay a subscription for it. You pay the subscription based on how much you need, and you can cancel at any time. So there's no long-term contracts. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So it's just, platform, you sign on, get immediate access to a creative team, and you can make as many requests as you would like. Okay. So the idea is if you're a startup, if you come up with a business, you subscribe to the Workspace platform, you can go like, hey guys, I need a logo. Within
Mhm.
3 days, a bunch of logos will be sent to you. Hey guys, I need a pitch deck. It would ask you a few questions. You provide the information for your pitch deck. In 3 to 5 days, it's sent to you. So that's the way we work. And we realize that a lot of people don't always know everything that they need. So they need that flexibility to be able to come up with an idea and, just request for that. Now, the catch is we manage everything for you. So technically, you don't even speak to the creative people, right? You have a dedicated project manager who updates you on everything that you need. You just speak to them, you tell them what you want, and it's like WhatsApp chat, right? You just tell them what you want, and then they would handle that for you. So we
Fantastic.
take on the burden, yeah, we take on the burden of quality control. We take on the burden of speed, so you never have to worry if your work is going to be late, things like that, because there's always that communication flow. So it's really easy, very, light touch, to use this platform. So yeah, so basically platform that connects you to a creative team instantly, and that's just it. And you can just subscribe like you subscribe to Netflix. You can cancel at any time. Very, very simple model, and it works out for a lot of people as well. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I think it's a match made in heaven because everyone wants, everyone's getting used to the whole, way of doing life like Netflix, then, Amazon
Mm,
Prime,
mm,
YouTube
mm.
Premium. People want it now, and people want to be able to have that flexibility in terms of, oh,
Yeah,
okay, cool. This is there. I can access it anytime I need it. And because of the
exactly.
uncertainty of life and just how busy life gets, at a split second, there's something that you need done. And at a drop of a
Exactly.
penny, you need to get something done. So this service, I
Exactly.
think it's something that people really need. And I
Mm,
think there's lots of different types of designs that people
yes.
need. And it's all well and good. There's platforms like Canva and stuff that we can go and get stuff done. But at the same time, it's another thing where you're spending your time doing in Canva.
Doing
Whereas you
yourself.
can
Yeah.
outsource it to somebody else who's not only not only can knows how to use Canva, but probably is a professional and can probably use
Yes.
platforms better than Canva, right? So
Exactly.
I think the benefit here is, you're saving time. You're also, being able to kind of like delegate, have it tap into a team, which he doesn't have to necessarily be on your payroll. Do you get it? So you can tap
Exactly.
into a team, doesn't have to be on
Exactly.
your payroll. You can say what you want, and it's there. That's it. So I think
It's
it's
done.
just
Very
perfect.
simple. Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Sydney, talk us through like the types of services, like when people opt in for the subscription, what kind of designs
Right.
can they get? Is it graphics, logos? Is it
Right. Right.
flies? Talk
Right.
us through that.
So I'll use this as an opportunity also to talk through how the business evolved, right? So we launched the business in 2015 in Accra, Ghana. It started out as a small creative studio focusing only on brand design. And then we realized that as people wanted more brand design, they wanted websites, they wanted other things, and then even started to go into a little bit of marketing. We did scale to a stage where people started to come to us for their marketing campaigns. So we run marketing campaigns for brands like Lord of the Wings. We did a lot of things, back in the day. But we were never really a marketing agency. We were more of a creative studio. We make the things you need to be able to put out there, but we don't necessarily take on the stuff about putting things out there for you, because then that goes into radio ads and buying ads and stuff. We'll get there one day again, but then we just aren't doing that right now. So the kinds of things that you can get now that we're a technology platform is you can get your brand design. So that is somebody who will create your logos, your visual identity, your design systems, somebody who can build your website, that is landing pages, etc., etc. Someone who can build your presentations and decks, because we know how important pitch decks are nowadays, cleaning up a proposal, looking really sharp, condensing it into small amounts of information. You have somebody who can do your apps and your app prototypes. So that is actually a bit of a game changer. If you needed to build a product, if you don't have all the money to build the full product, we can just design the product for you in Figma so that you can use that to raise funding. You can get some investment and stuff like that. When you do get the investment, you can still come back to us and we'll build the app for you. So that's another thing. So you just subscribe to a dev team and they'll do that. We go all the way. We will handle your social media for you as well. So with social media, we do recognize our limitations. So what we can do is we will put stuff out there for you. We can build your page, clean it up. But again, we don't really venture into the advertising space. So we're still building that expertise. But at least if you're like, hey, I just want to have a really nice and present LinkedIn, I want to post 3 times a week, just come to us, somebody will get it done for you. You have a writer on hand who can write all your stuff for you and all of that stuff. So it's a pretty broad range in relation to the things that you can get, with us. And in some countries, we can also organize photography and video for you. It's not something we push too hard, but if you absolutely need it, we'll make that happen as well. So these are some of the things you can access on the platform. Yeah.
Wow, that's like, I feel like I'm a kid in a supermarket and I'm like, I want this, 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 and this is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it's really impressive that you guys can go as far as to the extent where you can build prototypes on Figma when people are trying to put the MVPs or the minimum viable products together. So if you're a startup and you want someone to help you do that, that's part of this. This is crazy. Like, how do you make all of this possible and still be able to like make it worthwhile and profitable for you and your team? Like, I guess the technology, right? I guess the technology.
So the beautiful thing is that the tech manages our workflow, but human beings still do your work. So that's something that we were very particular about, because we think it's really important that all work is very quality checked, is nuanced in relation to your culture, things like that, right? It's really good for humans to do it. We are a very tech charged company, so we do use AI to support like our research and things like that, but a human being always does your work. So that's something that we can guarantee. I can't share too much on what happens, in the background in relation to, because that's how there's a lot of other people who have adopted this subscription model, but they're all going to cap at a couple 100 customers or 50 customers, right? We're pushing up to 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 customers. That's our goal. Wow. So we know how we're building things in the background using our technology. And also we've taken a long time. Like, this didn't just pop up, within a year. There's a lot of things that we've had to put down over the last 3 years that allow us to be able to work extremely fast, at extremely high quality, ensure that the customer still feels heard and that it's very human. It's pretty difficult. So we've played the long game and it's paying off, because people are like, damn, this is fast. And we're even aiming to get faster. We're hoping to be able to build everything you need within 24 hours. And I know it sounds crazy, but that's the craziness that my team is thinking about, that we're saying that you should be able to launch a business on Monday, and by Friday you will have a website, you would have your branding, you would have that. That's what we're aiming to do in a few years. So that's where we're going, with that. So just so that it's very accessible for everyone to be able to build something very cool. Yeah.
Fantastic. The weekend entrepreneur. Probably creating the next weekend entrepreneurs. I love it. I wake up from a dream. I've got an idea on Monday, and Saturday I've got a business launch. I love it. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is brilliant. I mean, to hear that that's the goal, to get to the tens of
Mm.
hundreds of thousands of people to support, that's some
Yeah.
serious scale. And you probably have to have
Yeah.
serious structures and technology and things in place. So
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
I mean, for you being in entrepreneurship, Sydney, for those who have just joined, Sydney mentions that he's been in entrepreneurship for almost 12, 13 years. That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long
Yeah.
time. I've been working total for about 12, 13 years, let alone being an entrepreneur for that long. And even using the word entrepreneur, I mean, it's I think it's thrown around a bit vaguely, but that's the whole conversation.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
but
mm.
wow, Workspace Global. I mean, you've heard it from Sydney guys. Literally, you can gain access instantly to a top tier design and dev team instantly. Get the designs you need, the website, whatever it is, they can do it. And they can do it really quickly. I mean, I've tried their services really, really quickly. That's how quick Workspace Global can get your stuff to you within a matter of days, even less than that. You can get your designs back to you, and you can just focus on the main thing. And I feel like when entrepreneurs have their hands in too many things, that's when you can
Yeah.
start to lose the quality of the work that
Yeah.
you're actually trying to deliver. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm really enjoying this conversation so far. I'm just going to take a moment just to remind you guys, if you guys have any questions for Sydney, as we're coming up to half time, if you have any questions for Sydney, please drop it in the chat. If you're on Instagram, drop it in the chat. If you're on Facebook, drop it in the chat and let us know, what you think of this conversation so far. I know it's Friday evening and the sun may be out where you are. If you're on YouTube, drop it a message on the chat. Let us know if you have any questions for Sydney. If you're on LinkedIn, drop a message in the chat. Let us know what your thoughts are on today's conversation, and let us know if you have any questions for Sydney and Workspace Global
Awesome.
team, and we can continue with this conversation. All right.
Mm.
Okay, cool. And let us know where you're tuning in from, guys. If you're in a specific city, we'd love to know where you're tuning in from. If you're in a specific country, we'd love to know where you're tuning in from. All right, brilliant. Okay. So let's keep this conversation going so far until we get some questions coming. Okay, so Sydney, so basically, with Workspace Global, right? So
Mhm.
is the team spread across Africa, or is it a remote team, isn't it?
Right. It is a remote team.
Okay,
We
cool.
have two offices. So our commercial office sits in London,
Hmm.
um, where some of our senior team is, and then our talent office sits in Ghana, which
Fantastic.
handles the Africa end of the way we manage our talent. So we prioritize hiring talent from Africa to be able to create more opportunities and create more jobs. We do have talent spread across, so some in Ghana, Nigeria, Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, South Africa, mainly for now. We are starting to branch slowly into Francophone Africa as well, and then also into North Africa as time goes on. But all talent centers towards the talent office in Accra, which actually is also still a remote team. So it's very interesting that we do all these things and everyone's working from home. We have their kids on phone calls. It's still very cool. And then our London office handles business in the UK, in Europe, and in the US. So that's where we that's basically how we structure it. So yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And how do you manage different time zones? Like, do you have teams working different shifts?
Yes, we do. So we do work a fairly long work day, and then we have team of people who cover certain hours, right? So the core hours are mainly on GMT time. We do stretch more towards the East African time zone as well. But then for the US, there are teams that catch those hours, a bit later. So you will find that, there's always people kind of, awake, making sure that, our customers are happy.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's been an interesting way to do things, especially because technology just makes things so easy nowadays. So yeah,
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I can imagine technology and also, being in this game for a while has helped you to maybe
yeah,
trial and error and perfect certain
yeah,
things so that you can get to
yeah,
where you are really now, which
yeah,
is, where Workspace Global is today. Okay.
yeah.
Um, I know you mentioned you had a few notable clients that you mentioned, some banks,
Mm,
etc.
hmm
Do
hmm
are there any interesting success stories, case studies, testimonies that you want to share? with the audience? Any kind of
Wow. Okay.
any key moments?
Uh, there's been a lot, but I remember, I always remember when back in the day, we built the website for the Ghana airport, and so basically, flight schedules, and everything that people are accessing, they still actually use our infrastructure right now. It does feel a little, it was more suited to that time. And obviously, if we were going to do it again today, we would have done it differently. But, building the website for Ghana Airport was also really strong. We built the website for the Ghana Stock Exchange as well, following very specific and very strict government guidelines. We did that, the Ghana financial markets as well.
Wow.
We worked with Mess Africa to help build some of the brand identities for their programs,
Hmm.
which is something that we're also very proud of. There's a company called C40 Cities, which is one of the biggest sustainability companies in the world.
Wow.
We helped them build about 5 of their climate action plans. So
Wow.
in Paris, in Dakar, in Lagos, I think in Ghana, we also did that stuff. There was
Yeah.
also a time where we worked. We had a video production, a full-on, in-house video production team, and so we worked with the UN, in 6 countries in East Africa,
Hmm.
to go in and film, including South Sudan. We had a team that was on ground, that went in to film some of the impact work that we were doing there. So that's also been really, really cool. We've worked with
Amazing.
over 300 startups, which we're really proud of as well. So yeah, I mean, if I dig through the weeds, we did stuff for Johnny Walker, helping an agency launch their 100-year edition of products. So we did the design and stuff for that.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I can go on and on. Goyle, yeah, because when you go deep, you recognize that we've done a lot. Like, there's a company called WIEC, which is Ghana's the West African Education
Hmm.
Council. We did stuff for them. We did
Yep.
stuff for
Good old
I
Wyatt.
can keep going. I mean, yeah, WIEC. WIEC, Goyle, VRA. That's the Volta River Authority. Like, if it goes deep. If we want to go in, we've touched a lot of things. A lot of things that you see in town just go like, oh yeah, that was a workspace thing. I even get surprised sometimes, as to how far in we've been. So yeah, we've in terms of big names, that's kind of where we've done. Yeah.
Fantastic. Wow. I mean, that's a fantastic body of work, and I think we just need to give you
Yeah.
a round of applause. So some kind of chill. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Some kind of chill. Yeah.
I appreciate
That's
that.
great
I
stuff.
appreciate that.
That's
I
great. That's
appreciate it.
fantastic
Yeah.
body of work, Sydney. Like, shout out to you guys. I think what is amazing is just the number of industries that you're able to tap into. But also, what I
Yeah.
really love as well is the fact that these are huge companies. They could literally have their own in-house teams, but they've still managed to
Literally.
reach out to you. Why do you think that is, Sydney?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? These are huge names you've all mentioned.
So I think, everyone knows what their strong suits are, and sometimes you can even have a high level in-house team, but then if you're not very equipped to manage them, the quality kind of goes astray. So it's like, if you are in the financial, like, let's say the Ghana Stock Exchange, it just makes sense for them to work with people who wake up in the morning and think about brand and creative, because they are like, they handle stocks, they handle numbers, they handle markets, and that's just what they do. So I think, even for us at Workspace, we, when it comes to legal, we always outsource legal. When it comes to, there's certain things that we do because we know that's not our thing, right? And I think there's some value there, to ensure that you're getting the best of the best. And so yeah, and I think a lot of people also appreciate that we're an African homegrown team, even though we operate on a global level. So that also gives us a bit of an advantage to understanding the context of the continent, and the way people want to work. So that's also really cool. The diaspora has been very kind to us, again. So it's like, people in the US and people in the UK do work with us a lot, but also I do find that there's a close affinity to supporting our own. So that also
Mm,
really helps, to get work done. So yeah, I think we appeal to the hearts of a lot of groups, I would say. So that's just also helped our success. Yeah.
brilliant. Wow. I mean, that's really incredible. It's really incredible that you're able to kind of work with these companies, and they actually recognize that, wait a minute, we aren't necessarily the experts in this, and we don't want to kind of get sidetracked doing all the design, branding stuff, etc.
Exactly.
Rather
Yeah.
hand over to someone who knows exactly what they're doing. That they wake up in the morning and they eat, sleep, breathe branding and design,
Breathe this stuff. Yeah.
and it
Exactly.
makes perfect sense. And
Exactly.
I think the diaspora as well, and that's the beauty thing about the African diasporan community is,
Mm, mm.
there are some of them out there that do want to support their own, and I think there
Yes.
is a movement right now where we're seeing this whole Black owns movement where people want to support their own, for example,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they want to put money into this person's pocket rather than that person's pocket,
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
there's an aspect of that as well where you would see the benefit, and I think it's really beautiful to see. And
Mm,
if we're
mm.
going to build Africa, we have to come together like this. Otherwise, we aren't going to get to where the Africa has the potential to get to.
To get to
Um,
exactly.
so Workspace
Exactly. And
Global.
and yeah, I will add to that. I mean, one thing I would say is that I have been paying attention to the global startup ecosystem for a very long time. And, in terms of where the world is getting its talent, there's a lot of focus on India. There's a lot of focus on, on different countries. Every set of every region of the world has had its time, and I think it's about time that Africa does show up to supports the global startup ecosystem. And so that's something that we're very passionate about because we believe that startups everywhere should be able to have access to the value that we're giving. But then Africa is at the bedrock of that, right? We are the foundation. We're providing the talent. We're showing the world that we can have high quality talent, very good value. We can use technology. We can drive AI. And I'm very proud of that, right? Because if you look at the way our clientele is so spread across, you would be very surprised that this is a company that was formed from Ghana that is just doing things on the same level as quite a few international organizations. So um, I'm very proud of that. I just want to say that the African talent that we have is showing up and is delivering good quality for brands all across the world. So yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wow. This is a beautiful story, and we are part of something bigger. Workspace
Yeah,
Global,
I
Son
would
of Accra, we're all part of something bigger, which is to build this Africa. And um, like, it's time for Africa to shine. Honestly, it really is time.
I
India's
agree.
had its time, certain countries had its time, like you said, which is a very, very good point. It's time that Africa has its time to shine, and Workspace Global
Yeah,
hopefully is going to be up there for sure. Really,
yeah.
really love the work you do in Sydney. Once again,
Mm,
guys, I'm just going to take a moment just to remind the audience, if you guys are still with us, okay, we are taking questions for Sydney, the Workspace Global team. If you have any questions for Sydney, the Workspace Global, anything about our conversation, our discussion today, please drop it in the chat.
mm,
We're still live on Instagram. If you're on Instagram and you're saying that you can't really see us or it's not very clear, head over to our YouTube channel, head over to our Facebook page. It's a lot more clearer there. This is all new for us,
mm,
going on Instagram, what's on the computer. This is all different. If you're on Facebook, you should be able to see us loud and clear. Drop a message in the chat if you can hear us. And if you have any questions for Sydney, please do let us know. If you're on YouTube,
mm,
please do give us a question. If you're still watching us, and if you're on, I believe all the other platforms, please keep it tuned here as we continue on this discussion. All right. Thank
awesome.
you very much. So that's AY30 says very insightful. Thank you so much for the comments. You Sydney definitely is sharing a lot of insights today regarding Workspace Global. And let's see what else we have here. I think that's it for the meantime. We've had a lot of people join on Instagram, which is great. Coming in and out of the platform. LinkedIn, we have quite a bit of a interaction, but let's keep it posted here. Let's keep it locked. Okay, Sydney. Well, this has been a good conversation
Nice.
so
That's
far.
awesome.
I believe it's it is a
Mhm.
sunny Friday, so there's not always a lot of engagement. But let's keep it locked here. So Workspace Global, right? How do
Mhm.
you how do you weigh it up against the Fivers, the Upworks of this world, Design Crowd? How do you compare it to
Yeah.
those platforms?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, they are ahead of us in relation to getting to the global market. We are on the climb. We are a rising company. Um, so Fiverr, Upwork are freelance networks where you go in, you find the talent. I mean, based on ratings, etc., etc. You engage the talent. You tell them what you want, and then they get that done for you. And then Fiverr or Upwork will manage the payment, in relation to that. So that there is some value, in relation to that. But what we have above these people is, or these networks, is that number one, finding the talent is a little takes a little bit of time. And not
Interesting.
everyone knows. Yeah, not everyone knows who a good talent is. Number one. Number two, one thing people really underestimate is how hard it is to articulate your vision. Tell somebody what you want them to do, because sometimes the language that you're speaking is not the same language that the creators understand, right? So not having that guided access to delivering, sharing your vision can be a bit of a challenge, which Workspace has taken into account and is making sure that when you're sharing your vision, it's very easy. You can pick pictures, so it's very easy for us to understand what you're trying to do. So that's another thing. I already mentioned finding people. We do that for you. Having an access to a project manager, especially if you're running multiple projects at the same time, is a big relief, because you want to talk to just one person. You don't want to have to follow up. You don't want to have to go like, hey, when am I getting this? Okay, there's a lot that you're already handling. You're in meetings and stuff like that. You get access to a dedicated project manager for free as part of your service. Whereas working with these freelance networks, you're on your own. You have to manage that interaction as well. And I know they say that if the work is not good, they and until you're satisfied, they don't pay the person, which is fair, which makes sense. But then we also have to consider that this is man hours that this talent puts in, right? And sometimes it's not always because the person doesn't is intending to screw you over, and that's why they messed up the work, right?
That's a
So
good point.
we have creative directors on hand to ensure that there's success between both the client and the talent. So it's not like the talent is on their own to just try and figure this out. We ensure that they deliver exactly what you want, so that you get what you want, but they also are able to get paid, right? So that support is also missing on some of those platforms, to ensure that everybody wins. So that's where we match up to some of these platforms. And actually, I would say we are better, significantly. It's just that they have a lot more scale. But as
True.
we build scale, we know that people are just going to go like, this makes more sense to just subscribe and get whatever I want versus finding an individual person to do every single thing that I'm looking for. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say. There
Brilliant.
are also a few other platforms like Superside, who is a company that I actually really admire. They also have a design subscription at scale, but the subscriptions start at $5,000. So exactly. So
Sydney's like,
so
that's what
you
I
can
thought. That's what I thought.
yeah yeah. So but it just gives you the for you to understand what goes into the kind of work that they're doing, the kind of work that we're doing.
Mm.
Someone is charging a minimum of $5,000 a month, right?
Oof.
And we are offering that, yeah, and we are offering that service to you from $200 a month. I mean, obviously we have higher tiers, but you can see how we're able to create like the access, for people who have a lower budget. And it doesn't mean we're a lower quality product. We're just designed for a different target market. So that's just
Fantastic.
what I would say, regarding that.
Fantastic. That's really insightful, Sydney. Thanks for sharing that. And it's
Mm,
really great to hear that you know exactly where you sit in the market, but at the same
yeah,
time, you've seen some of the pain points of some of these platforms, as big as they are,
yeah,
as much scale as they have, and you've been
yeah,
able to be like you've been able to kind of like maybe take those pain points and make them an advantage or strength in Workspace Global.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
you may go on Fiverr or Upwork or whatever it is, and you may not have a project manager, or you may get or maybe on the other side of those platforms, and someone's doing all the legwork and they're not getting paid for it, or you know
yeah,
you're able to, or you're paying a certain amount of money just for one particular design, and that's it. Or you're limited to how many changes you can make, etc.,
Yeah.
etc.
We
So
say we'll revise till you're happy. Yep.
yeah, so I like how you've looked at the market and you've created this unique product, which is not which is fantastic. You know, it takes the best from some of these platforms, but it's
Yep.
also accessible for those who are everyday entrepreneurs, startups, or smaller businesses. And for those that
Exactly.
don't have those $5,000, they can get in from $200. You know, which
Hmm.
is
Yep.
significantly more less. It's a fraction of that
Mhm.
cost, and
Yeah. Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing that I've seen with design work, etc., is always that kind of like time, that trade off of time and the quality. So sometimes when someone is paying, you know, a low amount, they're usually expected to get like a low quality product, and
Yeah.
sometimes
Exactly.
they may not be happy with it. But I think what is great with you guys is that you have this subscription model going on where, you know, the person's paying a certain amount, but they're able to access a different variety of products or services where they
Yeah.
can get
Yeah.
a range of things, you know, within that specific, you know, subscription within a month. You know, so is
Yeah.
what the chances of them being happy is a lot more
It's
because there's
much
a
higher.
lot
Yeah.
more variety that you have access to. So I think this is a
Yeah.
brilliant business model that you have with Workspace
Yeah.
Global, and you've got a fantastic
Yeah.
product. And
Yeah.
it's quite interesting because I always hear that I think there's one or two people that I've come across that said, "Oh, we are going to build the Upwork of Africa. We're going to build the Fiverr of Africa." And you know, lo and behold, you've been building something like this for quite some time, and you know,
Yeah.
you have it all along, and you know, you've got the
Yeah.
receipts to prove it. Working with these big companies, you know, as well as the smaller companies.
Yeah.
I think it just
Yeah.
shows that you proved yourself that you can work with the Workspace Global can work with the bigger companies, but also they can work with the smaller companies. But the market that
Yep.
they prefer to serve is the everyday entrepreneur, the
Yeah.
smaller
Exactly.
freelancer,
Yes.
the small business. So it's really
Yeah.
fantastic to see.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
cool, great, awesome.
I was gonna add. I was gonna add
Please do, please do, yeah.
those. So there are a few other things that we do to support people who sign on. So entrepreneurs don't always have access to coaching. So we do integrate that if you want it, to speak to someone about your brand because you don't always know what you want to do. So if you subscribe, you do have access to a coach who can help you with what you're looking to do. So that's something that is
Hmm.
very helpful. Another thing is also that just in case anything goes wrong, in the rare case that anything goes wrong with your product, we can swap the person who's working on it, right? And sometimes we have two, three people working on
Wow.
the same thing, so you do get a good setup. That's why we're very fast because it's not always that just one person gets your stuff there. We're able to break projects into pieces and three people can work on something at the same time. We make sure that they all look the same, they are the quality that you want, and then we would hand that over to you. So that's also a big advantage in relation to that as well. So yeah, those are just a few things that I wanted to add. We are launching the Workspace Support Network, which gives you access to freebies and discounts in at co-working spaces or other platforms, other things that help entrepreneurs as well. So with your subscription, you might be able to access some of that. So that's something that we're also investing in as we create partnerships across the world. So yeah, so we're really in for the startup and the entrepreneur, just to make sure that you have as much as you need to be able to get where you're going. So yeah, just wanted to add that. So, yeah.
That's brilliant. So it sounds like you're adding value in so many different areas, you know, like the way that you deliver support to subscribers, but
Mhm.
also the things that you're adding to existing subscribers, you know, like the co-working space access and things like that. I think this is really
Mhm. Mhm.
important because I think we live in a world where, you know, there's people that they have a habit of canceling subscriptions, you know, and I think
Yeah.
sometimes depending on what product or service it is, it may be getting harder and harder to keep someone as a subscriber or to retain the subscription, you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
reduce
Mhm.
churn, which is what I'm trying to say. So I love the way that Workspace Global is constantly innovating and finding ways to add value to their end user, to add value to the subscriber, to enable them to continue to stay on as a subscriber and to be to get the
Yeah,
maximum
yeah,
value from their money. Because you're basically saying this is
yeah,
how much dollars you're given, and we value every single dollar that you're giving us. So we want to give you every single dollar back times five or whatever it is,
exactly,
to give so
exactly.
much
Yeah,
more value that they don't want to leave, that they don't want to cancel.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so,
yeah.
so it must be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so the one key thing that we're doing is we have launched the email marketing service and the social media management service. So sometimes people come in and are able to build their brand identity, and all of that stuff in the beginning, but then to stay on, they just want to have access to a team that is just managing their social media or managing their email marketing. And we will, as I said, we will expand that as time goes on. So even though you probably have a social media team, you can still request for random designs that come up as well. So that's another thing that keeps people in the pipeline, and we're brand agnostic. So if you have a subscription, and there's someone, let's say your partner also has a business, they can come or hop onto your subscription to be able to use some of your hours within the
Wow.
subscription, because we don't limit you to just one brand. We do limit the number of tasks you can recommend at a time, but
Yeah.
as long as you have open time, you can use that with somebody, with someone to help someone else as well. So that's also a pretty cool thing as well in relation to service. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. So if someone feels like maybe they don't have a task that they can ask Workspace, they can make a request from Workspace Global for someone else can kind of use that subscription and request something.
Yeah, someone you know. Yeah,
Wow,
exactly. Yeah,
wow. And
yeah,
how do you
yeah.
police that? How do you police that to make sure it's like a random person that's just hacked into their
Well,
subscription
I
or
mean, there would be people who would try to take advantage of the service. I mean, definitely, right? That we have had people who try to build like entire, yeah, the entire client base of 10 people. They want to use the yeah, but the
yeah,
way it's designed, it's a very robust structure where you can't really, abuse us because there's a limited number of things you can ask. So as long as you have asked for one thing, you still have to wait till that is done, right? And then, so it's like you're using your own time, right? Unless you are trying. I mean, yeah, the cases where somebody takes advantage of the system are very, very limited because we put in those guardrails. But obviously, we're open to learning. We might get somebody who's very smart who wants to do certain things, and then we will just take that into account and just try to improve this. But again, I really believe that people are inherently good in most cases. So this is something we're trying to do to support the ecosystem. So please don't it's not the healthiest thing to try and like knock us down in the middle, right?
yeah.
We're trying to do something good, and just be a good person and you're also working with us. That's just what we so yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sure that's something that would rarely happen, but I guess, from time to time, things like this do happen. I
Hmm.
mean, we're in a world where
hmm
there's cyber threats and, there's
hmm
scams, there's impersonation, phishing, there's all sorts of strange things happening on the internet. And I guess safety and privacy, I think, is really important as well for customers, which is a big
hmm
trending thing. So it's good to hear that you've got
hmm
things in place to police when things like this try to happen as well. Um,
hmm
this is fantastic. Brilliant. Um, just want to take another
Thank you.
moment. You're welcome. You're welcome, Sydney. Just want to take another moment, guys, just to remind you that the floor is open. If you have any questions for Sydney or any questions for Sydney regarding Workspace Global or anything that you've heard in the discussion, please get your comments or your questions in the chat. And Sydney would be happy to, ask them. I mean, we're coming up to the final few minutes. If there's anything that you want to ask Sydney regarding Workspace Global, if there's any questions you have, please do get it in the chat. other than that, let us know where you're tuning in from, what city, what state, what country you're coming in from, and let us know, how you heard about this live Q&A as well. It'd be great to hear from the audience. I do appreciate it's a Friday evening or Friday afternoon wherever you are, but it'd be great to hear from you as well. But yeah, we are coming up on time soon. So if you have any words, any comments, any questions for Sydney and the team, please do get your messages in the chat. We are live once again on Facebook, on LinkedIn. We're live on YouTube, and we're live on Instagram. If you're on Instagram and it looks a bit funny, please do come over to YouTube, as we are kind of testing this for the first time. I believe it may not look exactly the right way, but yeah, come and join us on the final few minutes on YouTube if it looks a little bit funny. Okay, great, Sydney. Look, this has been fantastic conversation so far.
Thank you so much.
I'm aware that you have something for the audience. For those people that want to give Workspace Global a try or want to check you guys out. Yeah. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
So what we're doing, especially in partnership with Sound of Accra, is to just give the Sound of Accra audience and community access to $50 worth of workspace services, which means you get access to our platform for 7 days to make to make at least one request. So just to get a feel of it, understand if how legit this is. I'm sure people have their skeptical in some cases, but then for you to just really just experience this at no risk, and I promise you that it will impress you, and you will definitely sign on later down the line. So I will drop a link here, which is workspaceglobal.com. So go to workspaceglobal.com/free trial. Okay. It is a private link, so it's just literally being exposed to the Sound of Accra community. You can go there and then subscribe to 1 week of using the subscription, and just connect with us, get assigned to your project manager, see how it feels, and it's just so that you can know for yourself that this is something that can support your business. So I really appreciate if all of you could go over, just at least check out the website, understand what it's about, and then if you want to try it out, just go to the link that has been shared, and you should be very happy. That's one thing I would say. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sydney, for sharing that. Really appreciate that. So we're going to keep this conversation going. Please do get your comments. If you have anything you want to say, anything that you want to ask Sydney, please do get it in the chat. Once again, we're live on YouTube, we're live on Instagram, we are live on all these different platforms. We have a message on YouTube from Aaron Ayamga. He says, "So I know his brother went to Yale. He is very deep too. Is there something in their formative years that we can do to help our kids be outstanding?" So I think that's like a question and a comment at the same time. It's like a question and a comment coming through at the same time, which is brilliant, which is fantastic. Yeah. So I'll put that in I'll float that to the audience for those of you who weren't able to see that. Or those of you who can't see that on your platform, because this question's coming in from YouTube. So it says, "So I know his brother went to Yale. He's very deep too. Is there something in their formative years that we can do to help our kids be outstanding?" Thank you for that comment, Aaron. Sydney, yeah, I mean that is true. Yeah, Sydney, you did head over to the States and you spoke at Yale, which is one of the Ivy League universities. So congratulations. I mean, you are flying a flag for us in Africa. Tell us a bit about that and how people can be outstanding like yourself.
Yeah. Well, so it's not really just about me. So actually, what he's talking about is my brother did go to Yale and did his master's at Tufts University, and then my younger brother. So the one after me went to Yale. The one after me went to Brown University. So they're both Ivy Leaguers. Both have done their masters at very prestigious schools, and are working in very senior roles as well in the organizations that they're in the US. So yeah, so my parents were juicing us up with something, I would say, because I'm very proud of my brothers. My brother is the last born is, I think he's just 25 now, and he's financial manager at Procter and Gamble, which I'm very excited about.
Fantastic.
The one after me, he topped the entire Africa for SATs. So that's something I always say everywhere, so that's yeah. But anyway, so they do make me look pretty dumb, but it's okay, it's fine. We're all no, but I think, I mean, the one thing is that my parents weren't afraid to expose us to a lot of different things. We had encyclopedias all over the house. We were always in, just very random stuff. And so I'll just encourage that, you're very intentional about, what you expose your kids to, as long as possible. So don't leave them when they go to high school. Keep pushing them out there, into spaces that they may not be able to know on their own. And naturally, their ambitions grow bigger, with the level of exposure that they have. So that's just one thing that I would recommend. But to be honest, I give all thanks to God, all glory to God. There,
That's good.
I don't think we personally could have done any of this, on our
Amen.
own. So yeah,
Amen. Amen.
yeah.
Amen. I mean, you've built an impressive business, Sydney, and you're an amazing person, incredible person. You're doing incredible things. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Well, there you have it, guys. Put your kids out on the comfort zone. Take them out of their comfort zone and stretch them, and they'll become amazing, like Sydney and his brothers, his Ivy League brothers. But yeah, guys, for those of you, watching on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, try Workspace Global for free. You have a $50 coupon from Sydney and his team. Give it a try if you need any design works. Ditch the freelancer and the agency headaches. Ditch those headaches. Come over to Workspace Global. I've tried them myself. We don't endorse anything that we haven't tried ourselves. We've tried them ourselves, and honestly, I'm yet to. I need to give my video testimonial, but they're fantastic. I do recommend them. Highly recommend them. Try them for free. Workspaceglobal.com/free trial. If you're watching on any of the platforms right now, if you look at the link, look in the description below. Check the description below or check the live chat. You will be able to grab the link there, and you can go out and try your free trial. Tell them that you came from us, and let us know what you guys thought. Sydney, it's been a fantastic interview. I know we're on time now. The time has just flown by. We did have a few comments and a few questions come in, which is one question came in, which is not bad because it's Friday. Is there any last kind of final words, announcements, anything that you want to say to the audience before we close out?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is, I feel like us entrepreneurs are the army that Africa needs to create change. We're well motivated. We're very close to our communities. We know what the problems are. So I really just want to encourage everyone out there who is tackling a problem to just keep going. There's a lot of us out here who are supporting you. So just make that bold step, start, and keep pushing. And I think we're all gonna, make a really huge impact on the continent around the world. So that's just my last bit.
Fantastic. Just before you go, quickly, anything exciting in the pipeline regarding Workspace Global?
That's a good question. We're just building a customer base. So that's the main thing. We are rolling out new services. So we might be adding some 3D AI generation services also coming on. So we will keep expanding. Yeah, we'll keep expanding what you can get, with the same subscription, so that, if you have, 3D product modeling, prototyping, that you want to also access, we can do that as well. So that's the one thing that I'd say people can look forward to. But for now, the platform is really good, and we just want more people to try that on. So I think that's just going to be our priority. I have to say. Yeah.
Brilliant, fantastic. And there you have it again, guys. Try them out for free. Workspaceglobal.com for free. www.workspaceglobal.com/free trial. You will be able to try their service to see if it's for you or for your team. So if you're tired of getting headaches on different platforms, or you're tired of working with different types of freelancers, whatever, and you're getting different types of headaches, just ditch the freelancer headaches, ditch the agency headaches, come over to Workspace Global, tap into a top tier team, design team and dev team, and let Workspace Global take away all your headaches and focus on the design and brand work, so you can focus on what you do best as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, or as a startup. Sydney, Sam, you've been fantastic. Thank you for joining us on Sound of Accra podcast. Our season 6 sponsors. We will continue to We're going to continue to slam their ads in front of you as you continue to watch. As you continue to see us on season 6, as we'll continue on this week and next week and for the coming, how many weeks we got left? Oh boy, we got probably about, I think we've got about 7 episodes left, 8 episodes. So we've got 8 more weeks of Workspace Global to just to cram in front of you guys. So we're gonna make sure that we brainwash you with Workspace Global until you wake up in your sleep saying Workspace. your first baby's word is gonna be Workspace Global. Watch out. All right, no problem. Thank you so much, Cindy. I'll let you go. Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye bye.